All right, so we have our project set up, our API is running, and now we're going to begin the integration of our external service, which in this case, as we previously mentioned, will be Twilio's Sendgrid. Twilio's Sendgrid is, well, you can just find out for yourself. You can read their little tagline. If you go to sendgrid.com/free, Twilio Sendgrid is the world's largest email infrastructure as a service provider, which, again, sure, I trust them. They're a high quality service. They do a lot of great things. But in particular, the reason why we're choosing it is because they let you send about 100 emails a day for free without the need to enter in a credit card, which is extremely convenient for a developer just learning this process. Now, recently, their service has become significantly tighter and more difficult to integrate, mainly because they've been hit with a number of spam issues with people sending large amounts of spam from their service to different companies trying to do phishing, spoofing, hacking, all kinds of stuff that Sendgrid is not happy about. So it's become a little more difficult to actually get the service integrated, but we'll come to that as the time comes. For the time being, all you need to do here is click try for free, and it should send you to a place to create your account. So you can come in here, create an account with whatever you want. Let's go with ratemysetup.app@gmail.com. And the password is going to be something super secret. I will not tell you what it is because that would be a bad idea. But I am going to enter it in. It needs at least 16 characters. Ooh, interesting. That's nice of them. Let's make one that's very long. Okay. Then also verify that you are not a robot. Cool, I'm not a robot. Thanks for CAPTCHA. And then accept their terms and services. If you want to read over them, here they are. And go ahead and create an account. Now, once this page has loaded, it'll ask you to enter in some information. Your first name, your last name, company website, country code, phone number, developer, emails per month, etc. So I'm going to pause this here, and then you can go ahead and enter that information. If you don't have a company name and company website, you can use ratemyservice.com or whatever it is you want to use for the moment. It's not super important, but they are going to ask you to verify that information personally. So go ahead and do that right now, and then when you're ready, come back here and we'll fill in the rest of that. Okay, so I've actually gone ahead and entered that information here so you can see it, set it up, rate my setup, my name, company website. I would also enter in a phone number if you have one. Otherwise, Sendgrid might decline your initial ability to send emails, mainly because, again, they're at this moment super protective of making sure you're not trying to spam a bunch of people with emails using their service. So go ahead and enter this in and click Get Started when you're ready. All right, it looks like they were being super protective, and they want to make sure that I still will be able to send emails until I provide more information. So I need to contact support. So I contact support. Looks like they want a bunch more information here. And this, again, in general, is Sendgrid being super careful since apparently my profile was flagged as high risk by the system, and they want to prevent any kind of spam services sending out emails. And so I'm going to enter in a bunch more information here, and then as soon as I've done that, hopefully they'll allow me to see the dashboard and I can start actually going through. So I've entered in some of the information here, the username, the email address, the nature of my business, which is to allow users to post pictures of their setup and let other users rate those setup posts. I'll be sending low frequency, low volume emails only being used for password reset and confirmation. Users will sign up for application at the sign up link. Users can unsubscribe from emails, I should type that correctly, in our application, and we're sending transactional emails. So hopefully when I click submit here, that will allow me to view the dashboard and get set up on Sendgrid. Our request was successfully submitted. That sounds nice. Let's see if we can now go to the Sendgrid dashboard. Should be signed in already. Maybe not. Let's go ahead and sign in. Cool. Looks like it worked. Looks like it didn't work. I think I said rate my setup, and then the password. Okay, let's try rate.my.setup.app@gmail.com. Go ahead and sign in there. Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate, but I guess we're waiting for confirmation, so as soon as I have confirmation, should be able to access the service. But that's fine. Let's take a look at how we would actually use it when we can access the dashboard as well. Now, since Sendgrid is being extra careful and not letting us log in, I'm going to log in with an account I already have, and we're just going to go from there, but the process would be relatively similar. Once they've allowed you to access their service, everything seems clear, it'll work like this. You'll sign in with another account with a very long password. You will log in. It will let you access. In this case, I have two-factor authentication set up, so I will enter in my two-factor authentication, which is usually a pretty decent account, or a decent approach when dealing with secure, sensitive applications, is make sure you have two-factor authentication set up just so that you can mitigate the chance of unauthorized access by bad actors. And once you get to their page, you'll see something like this, which is their setup guide for sending your first emails with Twilio. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the email API over here and click on this integration guide, which will take us to the sendgrid.com/guide. Should be /integrate, I think. I don't know why it didn't work that time. Let's try it again. Looks like they're giving me the runaround here. Let's try it one more time. I don't know why it's not giving me... Oh, there we go. Okay. Now it decided to... Okay, I guess it didn't decide to work. That's so funky. Well, either way, the goal here is... Let's go to my account details for a second. See if I can get it there. You're going to want to create... Here we go. See, your products. API keys. Nope, not there either. Alright, let's look at... here we go. API keys. That's what we're looking for. You're going to want to create an API key here. And in our case, my API key has an ID and a special API key here that they do not allow you to see. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on this email API, click on the integration guide. It's going to tell you to integrate with Node.js. It's going to give you some options. You're going to want to click Node.js as the client and then create your own API key, which is simple as this. Just give yourself an API key, give it a name here, which I'm going to say is rate, or let's just call it RMS API key. Yours is going to look similar to this, but slightly different. And then you're going to create and view that API key. Now, you're going to have the API key only once, so make sure you save that API key, click Done, and you'll never be able to see it again. So once you've done that, you're going to want to hold on to the API key because we're going to need it in a second. And so to make sure you have that API key in the future, you're going to do two things. The first thing is you're going to come here and you're going to add it to the .env and .env template file. So you're going to say Sendgrid API key, and you're going to store the API key here. Make sure you also store that somewhere else that is within your, you have easy access to it, but is not stored somewhere where you're committing it to Git. So somewhere maybe on your computer locally, or just somewhere where you keep all your secret keys, or somewhere you can keep it safe. And then here, you're going to also add something that just says Sendgrid API key equals enter Sendgrid API key here. Now, that was a lot of pain, to be honest. And again, it's mainly because Sendgrid has become significantly more difficult to set up to prevent hackers, spoofers, and nefarious actors from abusing their system. But once you have that API key set up, that's pretty much all we need, except maybe a few more things like making sure that the email service is active. So let's also add one here, just says like email service status, and let's say active, something along those lines. And in this case, we'll put that in the .env template as file as well, which is just going to represent the state of our email service. Like, do we want to be sending out emails at the moment? So it can maybe be down or ignore or whatever you want to call it. But let's just keep it in the template. We'll keep it as down. And then in the .env file, we'll say it's active. So we want to be actively sending emails. Just creating a system where we can use config to determine exactly when or when not to send out emails. Speaking of config, we're also going to need to include those environment variables here. So come in here and add them as well. Let's actually put them below the is testing flag. So we'll say const Sendgrid API key equals process.env Sendgrid API key. Oops. There you go. And then we'll say email service, and let's just say email service active, and just set it to a Boolean. And if isTesting is true, we'll make sure that it is always false, so that we're never sending emails when we're testing. Otherwise, we'll set it to whether or not process.env.emailService status is equal to active, or something along those lines. There's a number of ways to do this, but just giving you an example here. And then let's also make sure that we are adding that to our config printing system so that we know exactly what those environment variables are. And let's also make sure we export them as config variables here, just so we have access to them throughout our application. Cool. And with that set up, now we can go ahead and start actually integrating the Sendgrid piece into our application and create our email service, which we'll do next.